What if a coin sitting in your pocket right now could be worth thousands of dollars? Most people ignore Kennedy half dollars, thinking they're just ordinary change. But hidden among them are rare dates, mint marks, and minting errors that collectors are willing to pay huge money for. In this video, we're going to reveal several Kennedy half dollars you should never overlook, including coins from the 1960s, 70s, and even the 1990s that have shocked collectors with their value. Some of these coins have sold for thousands, and a few have even reached over $40,000. So before you spend that half dollar, make sure you watch this first. First up, we take a look at an iconic American coin that many collectors still search for today, the 1965 Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark found in circulated condition. At first glance, this coin may appear attractive and well preserved. It still shows the strong portrait of President John F. Kennedy, and the design is easy to recognize. However, when examined closely, there are clear signs that the coin has spent time in circulation. Across the surface of the coin, you can see minor scratches, small scuffs, and areas where the original mint shine has faded. When this coin was first struck at the mint, it would have had a bright metallic luster that reflected light across the surface. Over time, as the coin passed through many hands and rubbed against other coins in pockets and cash registers, that original shine slowly wore away. Even though some people might describe the coin as being in very good shape or visually appealing, professional coin collectors use stricter standards. In the world of coin grading, this piece would still be classified as a circulated coin, meaning it has clearly been used in everyday transactions. The 1965 Kennedy half dollar holds an important place in United States coin history. The Kennedy half dollar design was first introduced in 1964, shortly after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The coin was created as a tribute to the late president, and it quickly became one of the most recognized and collected coins in the country. On the front of the coin, also called the obverse, we see the left-facing portrait of President Kennedy. This design was created by sculptor Gilroy Roberts, who was the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time. Around the top edge of the coin appears the word Liberty, while the national motto "I in God We Trust" is placed below Kennedy's neck. At the bottom of the coin you can clearly see the date 1965. One important detail collectors always check is the mint mark. In this case, the coin has no mint mark. For the year 1965, this is completely normal. During the mid-1960s, the United States Mint temporarily removed mint marks from coins to discourage collectors from hoarding them. Because of this policy, coins made in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco during those years often appear without any mint mark at all. That means a 1965 Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark does not necessarily mean it was only made in one location. Instead, the mint intentionally removed those identifying marks during that period. This unusual historical change makes coins from 1965 through 1967 especially interesting to collectors. Turning the coin over to the reverse side, we see a powerful and detailed design known as the presidential seal. In the center is a large eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle holds an olive branch in one claw and arrows in the other, symbolizing peace and strength. Above the eagle is a ring of stars, representing the states of the United States. Around the outer edge of the reverse side are the words United States of America at the top and half dollar at the bottom. The design was created by Frank Gasparo, who later became the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. Another interesting feature of the 1965 Kennedy half dollar is its metal composition. The very first Kennedy half dollars produced in 1964 were made from 90% silver. However, because people began saving and hoarding those silver coins, the government decided to reduce the amount of silver in later coins. Starting in 1965, Kennedy half dollars were produced using a 40% silver composition. This means the coin still contains a significant amount of silver, but less than the original 1964 version. The outer layers are made of silver mixed with copper, while the inner core contains more copper. Because of this silver content, even circulated 1965 Kennedy half dollars often attract attention from collectors and investors. Many people save them simply because they contain silver, which gives the coin value beyond its face value. Looking again at the condition of this specific coin, the signs of circulation are quite visible. The small scratches and scuffs across the surface suggest that it was used for many years. The high points of the design, such as Kennedy's hair and parts of the eagle's feathers, may show slight smoothing compared to a brand new coin. However, the design remains strong and clear. The lettering is still sharp, and all the major elements of the coin are easy to read. This level of preservation is common for coins that were used but not abused. While many circulated 1965 Kennedy half dollars are considered common, collectors still examine them carefully for rare varieties and mint errors. During the minting process, small mistakes sometimes occurred that created unusual coins. One type of error collectors search for is a doubled die where the lettering or numbers appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment in the die creation process. Another possibility is an off-center strike where the coin was not perfectly aligned when it was struck by the minting press. There are also cases where coins were struck on the wrong metal blank known as a planchet error. These types of mint mistakes are extremely rare and can attract strong interest from collectors. Because of these possibilities, some rare 1965 Kennedy half-dollar error coins have sold for impressive amounts. Exceptional examples with dramatic mint errors have reached values between $20,000 and $90,000 depending on the rarity and the condition of the coin. That is why collectors always recommend looking closely at older coins before spending them. Even a coin that appears common or worn could still hold a surprising feature that makes it valuable. Next up we take a closer look at another historic American coin, the 1967 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark ***, found today in circulated condition. At first glance, the coin may look impressive because the design is still bold and recognizable. The portrait of President John F. Kennedy remains clear, and the lettering around the coin is still easy to read. But when you look closely you can see small scratches, light scuffs, and areas where the original mint shine has faded. These are clear signs that the coin has been used in everyday transactions over the years. Coins like this often appear attractive to the eye, but in professional coin collecting terms they are still considered circulated coins. When a coin leaves the mint, it has a bright, reflective surface called mint luster. Over time, as the coin moves through pockets, cash registers, and coin jars, that original shine slowly fades away. Even small contact with other coins can leave tiny marks on the surface. The 1967 Kennedy half-dollar belongs to a very interesting period in United States coin history. The Kennedy half-dollar design was first introduced in 1964 as a tribute to President John F. Kennedy after his assassination in 1963. The coin quickly became extremely popular with the public. Many people saved them as keepsakes, and they became one of the most recognized coins in the country. On the front of the coin, also called the obverse, we see the well-known portrait of President Kennedy facing to the left. The design was created by Gilroy Roberts, who was the chief engraver of the United States Mint at that time. Around the top edge of the coin appears the word Liberty, while the national motto "I in God We Trust" is placed below Kennedy's neck. At the bottom you will see the date 1967 marking the year the coin was produced. One very interesting detail about this coin is the absence of a mint mark. Normally, U.S. coins include a small letter showing which mint facility produced them. For example, D stands for the Denver Mint and S stands for the San Francisco Mint. However, during the years 1965, 1966, and 1967 the United States Mint made an unusual decision. During those years the Mint removed mint marks from all coins. The reason was to discourage coin collectors from hoarding coins based on where they were made. At the time, many people were already saving coins because of their silver content, and the government wanted to keep coins circulating in the economy. As a result, coins from those 3 years were produced without any mint marks at all even though they were made in different mint facilities. This makes the 1967 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark completely normal ***, but it also makes these coins part of a unique chapter in U.S. minting history. Turning the coin over to the reverse side, we see a powerful and detailed design based on the presidential seal. In the center of the coin is a large eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle holds an olive branch in one claw, representing peace, and a bundle of arrows in the other, representing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Above the eagle is a circle of stars representing the states of the United States. Around the outer edge of the reverse side you will see the words United States of America at the top and half-dollar at the bottom. This reverse design was created by Frank Gasparo, who later became the chief engraver of the United States Mint. Another reason collectors pay attention to the 1967 Kennedy half-dollar is because of its silver content. While earlier Kennedy half-dollars in 1964 were made with 90% silver ***, coins produced from 1965 through 1970 contained 40% silver. This means that even circulated coins from these years still contain a noticeable amount of precious metal. Because of that silver content, many people save Kennedy half-dollars from the 1960s instead of spending them. Even when the coin is worn or circulated, the silver content alone can make it more valuable than its 50-cent face value. Looking again at the condition of this particular coin, the signs of circulation are visible but not extreme. The design is still strong and most of the lettering remains crisp. The high points of Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers may show some smoothing from years of use, and small contact marks can be seen across the surface. Even though coins like this are common, collectors still examine them carefully for rare mint errors or unusual varieties. During the minting process, mistakes can sometimes happen that produce coins with unique characteristics. For example, collectors sometimes find doubled die errors, where the lettering or date appears slightly doubled due to an error during the die creation process. Another possibility is an off-center strike ***, where the coin was not perfectly aligned when it was struck by the minting press. There are also rare cases where a coin might be struck on the wrong type of metal blank, which is called a planchet error. These mistakes are extremely rare and can attract strong interest from collectors. Because of these possibilities, certain rare 1967 Kennedy half-dollar error coins have sold for surprisingly high prices. Exceptional examples with dramatic mint errors have reached values between $25,000 and $100,000 depending on the rarity of the error and the overall condition of the coin. This is why collectors often recommend taking a closer look at older coins before spending them. A coin that appears ordinary at first glance might contain a rare feature that makes it valuable. The 1967 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark *** represents a fascinating time in American coin history. It was produced during a period when the mint temporarily removed mint marks and when coins still contained a significant amount of silver. Its worn surfaces and light scratches tell the story of a coin that spent many years moving through everyday commerce. And even though most examples are common, the possibility of rare errors means that every coin from this year still deserves a careful look. Sometimes, hidden among ordinary coins, collectors discover a small piece of history that turns out to be far more valuable than expected. Next up, we're diving into a coin that celebrates a truly special moment in American history, the 1976 Bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar. This coin was minted to honor the 200th anniversary of the United States, a time when the whole country celebrated freedom, independence, and the journey that started back in 1776. Today we're looking at a circulated coin, meaning it has been used in everyday commerce, and while it might show signs of wear, it holds immense value for collectors, especially in rare or top-tier conditions. The Bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar was issued in 1975 and 1976, but instead of the usual single-date design, it features a dual date, 1776 to 1976, marking the nation's bicentennial. This coin also introduced a special reverse design, created by the talented artist Sally K. Ride, which replaced the standard presidential seal. The reverse features a detailed image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia where the Declaration of Independence was signed. Around the top and bottom, you'll see the inscriptions United States of America half-dollar and E pluribus unum. Even in circulated condition, these inscriptions and the outline of Independence Hall remain visible, though the finer details may be slightly worn. On the obverse, the coin keeps the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy designed by Gilroy Roberts. While a circulated coin shows some smoothing on the high points of Kennedy's cheekbones, hair, and jawline, the essential design is still very recognizable. The word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the date 1976 are all clear, which is critical for collectors assessing authenticity and condition. An important factor to consider is the mint mark. Bicentennial Kennedy half-dollars were struck at 3 mints: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S proof coins only. Coins without a mint mark were made in Philadelphia, which produced the largest number of bicentennial half-dollars. While these are more common, coins from Denver or proof coins from San Francisco can be much rarer, especially if they are in high-grade condition. Mint marks are crucial because they help collectors determine rarity, potential value, and historical context. Now, let's talk about condition and why it matters so much. The coin we're looking at is circulated, which means it has been through everyday use. You can see somewhere on Kennedy's hair, cheek, and jawline. The reverse shows smoothing on the high points of Independence Hall, and there may be scratches, nicks, and minor discoloration from years in pockets, registers, and coin rolls. The original cartwheel luster has faded, leaving a matte or slightly dull surface. Even so, circulated bicentennial coins can still tell an incredible story. They are pieces of history that were once in the hands of everyday Americans during a once-in-a-lifetime celebration. What makes certain 1976 Bicentennial Kennedy half-dollars truly special is when they are found in rare error varieties or top uncirculated condition. Some coins escape the mint with striking errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or die cracks. These mistakes occurred during production when the machinery misaligned or the dies were improperly prepared. Coins with these errors are extremely rare, and even circulated examples with visible errors can command astonishing prices in the collector market. High-grade or rare error Bicentennial Kennedy half dollars have sold for $15. 145,000 to $340,000, and in some cases, particularly exceptional examples have surpassed $380,000 at major auctions. Factors that push the price into the six-figure range include sharp details, bold design features, minimal wear, and of course rarity due to mint errors. Coins from the San Francisco proof sets with perfect surfaces and dramatic errors are the crown jewels of bicentennial collecting. Another reason collectors prize these coins is their historical significance. The bicentennial marked a major milestone for the nation, and this coin represents a moment of pride, celebration, and national identity. Holding a 1976 Kennedy half dollar connects you to that event in a very real way. It's not just currency, it's a tiny piece of history showing what America valued 200 years after its founding. Even if your coin is circulated and shows where it can still be valuable if it is part of a rare variety or comes from a limited minting. For example, coins with strong original surfaces, noticeable mint errors, or special toning can easily reach six-figure prices in the right market. Collectors look at things like sharpness of design, the depth of relief, and the clarity of lettering even when the coin has traveled through decades of hands. So if you ever come across a 1976 Bicentennial Kennedy half dollar, don't ignore it. Even a coin that looks ordinary at first glance might be hiding something extraordinary. Check for mint marks, examine the surfaces for unusual features, and consider its historical context. This coin is a reminder that sometimes, what seems like a simple dollar coin can hold the power to astonish collectors and fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars. In summary, the 1976 Bicentennial Kennedy half dollar is not only a coin you can hold, it's a time capsule. Its dual-date unique reverse design and connection to America's 200th birthday make it one of the most celebrated coins in U.S. history. Circulated or uncirculated, common or rare, every piece has a story, and for collectors the right coin can be worth $150,000 to over $400,000. It's proof that even coins that have passed through countless hands can still carry incredible history, beauty, and value. Next up, we're looking at another coin from the early 1970s that many people have seen but often overlook. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark ***, found in heavily circulated condition. At first glance, this coin clearly shows the effects of many years in everyday use. The surfaces appear dull, the original mint shine is gone, and there are numerous small scratches, scuffs, and contact marks across both sides of the coin. These are all normal signs of a coin that spent a long time moving through circulation. Even though the coin is worn, the main design elements are still easy to recognize. Coins like this are great examples of how everyday money slowly changes over time. Every scratch and worn edge tells a small part of the story about where the coin has been and how many people may have handled it over the decades. Let's start by looking at the front of the coin, also known as the obverse. Here we see the well-known portrait of President John F. Kennedy facing to the left. This design was created by Gilroy Roberts, who served as the chief engraver of the United States Mint when the coin was first introduced. Around the upper edge of the coin you will see the word Liberty, while the national motto "In God We Trust" appears below Kennedy's portrait. At the bottom is the date 1973. One detail collectors always check is the mint mark. On this particular coin, there is no mint mark below the date. For coins from this era, the absence of a mint mark usually means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia was the original mint of the United States and produced large numbers of coins each year to supply the country with circulating currency. Mint marks are important because they tell collectors where a coin was made. During the 1970s, Kennedy half dollars were mainly produced in Philadelphia and Denver, while some special coins were struck in San Francisco for collector sets. Philadelphia coins typically carried no mint mark, while Denver coins had the letter D. Now let's turn the coin over and look at the reverse side. The reverse design is based on the presidential seal of the United States. In the center of the coin, a large eagle spreads its wings wide. The eagle holds an olive branch in one claw to symbolize peace, and arrows in the other claw to represent strength and defense. Above the eagle is a ring of stars that represent the states of the United States. Around the outer edge of the coin you will see the words United States of America across the top and half dollar at the bottom. This reverse design was created by Frank Gasparo, another well-known engraver at the U.S. Mint. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar * belongs to the period when the coin was made from copper-nickel-clad metal. Earlier versions of the Kennedy half dollar contained silver, but by 1971 the U.S. Mint had removed silver from regular circulation coins. From that point forward, The half dollar was produced using layers of copper and nickel bonded together. The outer surface appears silvery, but the inside core of the coin is mostly copper. Because of this change, Kennedy half dollars from the 1970s are usually not saved for their metal value. Instead, collectors are interested in them for their history, design, and possible mint errors. Looking again at the condition *** of this specific coin, the heavy circulation is easy to see. The highest parts of the design have become noticeably worn. Kennedy's hair and facial features show smoothing, and some of the fine lines in the design have faded over time. The eagle on the reverse may also show wear, especially on the wings and chest. The surfaces also display numerous small marks from contact with other coins. This happens naturally when coins spend years inside pockets, coin jars, and cash drawers. The edges of the coin may also appear slightly rounded from years of handling. Coins in heavily circulated condition like this are very common because millions were produced and used during the 1970s. However, collectors still examine them carefully for unusual varieties or mint errors. Sometimes small mistakes occur during the minting process. One example is a doubled die, where parts of the lettering or numbers appear slightly doubled due to a problem during the die creation process. Another possibility is an off-center strike, where the coin design is not perfectly centered on the metal blank. There are also rare situations where a coin is struck on the wrong type of metal blank, known as a planchet error. When these unusual mistakes occur, the coins can become extremely desirable to collectors. Because of this, some rare 1973 Kennedy half-dollar era coins *** have sold for surprisingly high prices. Exceptional examples with dramatic minting errors have reached values between $12,000 and $55,000 depending on the rarity of the mistake and the overall condition of the coin. This is why many collectors recommend checking older coins before spending them. Even a worn coin that looks common could still contain a rare feature that increases its value. The 1973 Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark is a small but interesting piece of American coin history. It represents a time when half dollars were still regularly used in everyday transactions, moving from stores to banks and from one person to another. Today, coins like this remind us how everyday money can travel through decades of history. And sometimes, hidden among those ordinary coins, collectors discover something special. A rare variety, a minting error, or a piece of history that turns out to be far more valuable than anyone expected. Next up, let's check out a coin from the early 1970s that many people have seen but few people examine closely: the 1971 Kennedy half dollar with a D mint mark found in circulated fine condition. At first glance, the coin still looks strong and recognizable. The portrait of President John F. Kennedy is clear, and most of the main design features remain visible. However, when you look a little closer, you can see light wear across the highest parts of the design, along with small scratches and contact marks from years of circulation. This type of condition is often described by collectors as fine. In this grade, the coin has definitely been used in everyday transactions, but the important details are still easy to see. The raised parts of the design, like Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse, show some smoothing from wear, yet the overall design remains sharp enough to enjoy. Let's start with the front of the coin, also known as the obverse. Here we see the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy facing left. This design was created by Gilroy Roberts, who served as the chief engraver of the United States Mint when the Kennedy half dollar was first introduced. Around the top edge of the coin you will see the word Liberty. Just below Kennedy's portrait appears the national motto "In God We Trust," and at the bottom is the date 1971. Now look closely under the date and you'll notice a small but important detail: the D mint mark. This letter tells us that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. Mint marks are very important for collectors because they show where a coin was made. Different mints sometimes produce different numbers of coins each year, and that can affect how rare a coin might be. In the early 1970s, Kennedy half dollars were mainly produced at two major mints, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Philadelphia usually had no mint mark, while coins from Denver carried the letter D. That small letter helps collectors identify exactly where the coin originated. Now flip the coin over and take a look at the reverse side. This side features a powerful design based on the presidential seal of the United States. In the center, a large eagle spreads its wings wide. In one claw the eagle holds an olive branch, symbolizing peace. In the other claw it holds arrows, representing strength and the ability to defend the nation. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states of the United States. Around the outer edge of the coin you will see the words United States of America at the top and half dollar at the bottom. This detailed reverse design was created by Frank Gasparo, who later became the chief engraver of the United States Mint. One interesting thing about the 1971 Kennedy half-dollar *** is its metal composition. Earlier Kennedy half-dollars from the 1960s contained silver. For example, the 1964 version was made from 90% silver, and coins from 1965 through 1970 still contained 40% silver. However, by 1971 the United States Mint completely removed silver from the circulating half-dollar ***. That means the 1971 coin is made from a copper-nickel clad composition, similar to modern quarters and dimes. The outer layers are a mix of copper and nickel, while the inner core is mostly copper. Because of this change, many collectors consider 1971 to be the beginning of the modern clad Kennedy half-dollar era. Looking again at the condition of this particular coin, the signs of circulation are easy to notice but not extreme. The surfaces show light scratches and small marks that develop from normal handling. The highest areas of the design have experienced gentle wear, especially on Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers. Even so, the coin still holds a nice overall appearance and remains very recognizable. Coins in fine circulated condition like this one are very common because millions were produced and used in everyday commerce. However, collectors still enjoy searching through coins from this year for something unusual. During the minting process, mistakes can sometimes occur, and those mistakes can create coins that become highly collectible. One example is a double die error, where parts of the lettering or numbers appear doubled due to a small misalignment during the die creation process. Another type of error is an off-center strike ***, where the coin was not perfectly aligned when it was struck by the minting press. This causes part of the design to appear shifted or missing. These types of coins are easy to spot and often attract attention from collectors. There are also rare cases where a coin might be struck on the wrong metal planchet. When this happens, the coin may look slightly different in color or weight compared to a normal coin from that year. Because of these possibilities, collectors always recommend taking a closer look at older coins before spending them. Even a coin that appears common could have a rare feature that increases its value. Some unusual 1971 D Kennedy half-dollar era coins have sold for impressive amounts at auctions. Rare examples with dramatic minting errors have reached prices between $15,000 and $60,000 depending on the rarity of the error and the condition of the coin. While most coins from this year remain simple collectible pieces rather than high-value treasures, they still represent an important moment in U.S. coin history. The 1971 Kennedy half-dollar marked the first year the series moved completely away from silver and into the modern clad era. So even though this coin may just look like a worn half-dollar at first glance, it carries a small piece of American history. It passed through stores, pockets, and banks during the early 1970s, quietly witnessing everyday life. And like many coins from the past, it reminds collectors that sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins can still hold a story, and occasionally, a surprising discovery waiting to be found. Next up, let's take a closer look at another coin from the 1970s that collectors still enjoy finding today. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark discovered in circulated fine condition. At first glance, the coin still looks solid and recognizable. The portrait of President John F. Kennedy is clear, and most of the main details are still visible. But if you examine it carefully, you will notice light wear on the highest parts of the design, along with small scratches and marks from years of circulation. Coins in fine condition show clear evidence of use, but the important features are still easy to see. The raised areas of the design have begun to smooth out, especially on Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. However, the lettering and the main shapes of the design remain strong enough for collectors to appreciate. Let's start with the front of the coin, also known as the obverse. Here we see the famous portrait of President John F. Kennedy, facing toward the left side of the coin. This design was created by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the United States Mint when the Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964. Around the top edge of the coin appears the word Liberty stretching across the rim. Just below Kennedy's neck you will see the national motto "In God We Trust." At the bottom of the coin is the date 1974, which tells us when the coin was minted. One small but very important detail collectors always check is the mint mark. On this coin there is no mint mark below the date. For coins from this period, the absence of a mint mark normally means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia is the oldest mint in the United States and produced large numbers of circulating coins every year. Mint marks help collectors identify where a coin was made. During the 1970s, Kennedy half-dollars were mainly produced in Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Denver carry the letter D while Philadelphia coins generally have no mint mark. Even though both versions may look almost identical, the mint mark helps collectors track production numbers and identify possible varieties. Now turn the coin over and look at the reverse side. The reverse features a powerful design based on the presidential seal of the United States. In the center of the coin is a large eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle holds an olive branch in one claw to symbolize peace and a bundle of arrows in the other claw to represent strength and defense. Above the eagle is a ring of stars representing the states of the United States. Around the outer edge of the coin are the words United States of America across the top and $50 along the bottom. This reverse design was created by Frank Gasparo, another well-known engraver at the United States Mint. By the time this coin was produced in 1974, the Kennedy $50 had already gone through an important change. Earlier versions of the coin from the 1960s contained silver. The 1964 coins were made from 90% silver, and coins produced from 1965 through 1970 contained 40% silver. However, starting in 1971, the United States Mint completely removed silver from the regular circulating Kennedy $50. Instead, the coin was made using a copper-nickel clad composition ***. This means the outer layers are made of copper and nickel, while the inside core of the coin is mostly copper. Because of this change, Kennedy $50 from the early 1970s are usually collected more for their historical interest rather than their metal value. Looking again at the condition of this particular 1974 coin, the signs of circulation are noticeable but moderate. The high points of Kennedy's hair show some smoothing, and the fine lines in the design are slightly worn. The eagle on the reverse may also show wear on its wings and chest feathers. The surface displays small contact marks from rubbing against other coins over the years. These marks are very common for coins that have spent decades in circulation. Despite the wear, the coin still maintains a clear and balanced appearance, which is typical for coins graded in the fine range. While most 1974 Kennedy $50 are common coins, collectors still inspect them carefully for rare varieties and mint errors. During the minting process, small mechanical problems can sometimes create unusual coins that later become collectible. One possibility is a double die error, where the lettering or numbers appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Another example is an off-center strike, where the coin was not perfectly positioned when the minting press struck it. Occasionally, a coin may even be struck on the wrong type of metal blank, which is called a planchet error. These kinds of mistakes are rare but can make a coin extremely desirable among collectors. Because of these possibilities, some unusual 1974 Kennedy $50 error coins have sold for impressive amounts in the collector market. Certain rare examples with dramatic minting errors have reached prices between $10,000 and $45,000, depending on the rarity of the error and the condition of the coin. This is one reason collectors always recommend taking a careful look at older coins before spending them. Even a coin that appears ordinary at first glance could contain a rare detail that increases its value. The 1974 Kennedy $50 without a mint mark is a small but meaningful piece of American history. It represents a time when $50 were still part of everyday commerce, passing through the hands of millions of people. Today, coins like this remind us that even common pocket change can carry stories from the past. And sometimes, hidden among those ordinary coins, collectors discover something special. A rare variety, a mint error, or a coin that turns out to be far more valuable than anyone expected. Next up, let's take a closer look at a more modern coin from the Kennedy $50 series. The 1992 Kennedy $50 with AP mint mark found in extra fine circulated condition. At first glance, this coin still looks very sharp compared to heavily worn coins. The main design elements are strong, the portrait of President John F. Kennedy is clear, and most of the small details remain visible. However, careful inspection shows that the coin has been used in circulation, which means it is not considered uncirculated by professional coin grading standards. Coins graded as extra fine, often written as XF or EF, usually show only light wear on the highest points of the design. On this coin, the wear may appear on areas such as Kennedy's hair above the ear and the highest parts of the cheek and jawline. The surfaces may also show small contact marks from other coins, but the overall appearance remains crisp and well-defined. Let's begin with the front of the coin, also called the obverse. The design features the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy, facing to the left. This design was created by Gilroy Roberts, who served as chief engraver of the United States Mint when the Kennedy $50 was first introduced in 1964. Around the top edge of the coin is the word Liberty, which stretches across the rim. Just below Kennedy's neck appears the national motto "In God We Trust," and at the bottom of the coin is the date 1992. These elements remain sharp and easy to read on coins in extra fine condition. Now look just below the date and you will see a small but important detail, the P mint mark. This letter tells us the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Mint marks help collectors identify the location where a coin was made. The Philadelphia Mint is the oldest mint facility in the United States and produces a large portion of the country's circulating coinage. 4 Kennedy half-dollars and 1992 coins were mainly produced at Philadelphia P and Denver for circulation, while special collector coins were struck in San Francisco, S, for proof sets. Because of this, collectors often check the mint mark to determine which version of the coin they have. Now let's flip the coin over to the reverse side. The reverse design is based on the presidential seal of the United States, a symbol of national authority and unity. In the center of the coin is a large eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle holds an olive branch in one claw, symbolizing peace, and a bundle of arrows in the other claw, representing the nation's strength and readiness to defend itself. Above the eagle is a circle of stars representing the states of the United States. Around the outer edge of the coin appear the words United States of America at the top and half-dollar at the bottom. This impressive reverse design was created by Frank Gasparo, who later became chief engraver of the United States Mint. By the time this coin was minted in 1992, Kennedy half-dollars were made using a copper-nickel clad composition. Unlike the earlier coins from the 1960s that contained silver, modern Kennedy half-dollars are made from layers of copper and nickel bonded together. The outer layer gives the coin its silvery color, while the inside core is primarily copper. Because these coins no longer contain silver, most of their collector value comes from condition, rarity, and possible mint errors, rather than precious metal content. Looking again at the extra fine condition of this coin, we can see that it has been handled but not heavily worn. Many of the fine details in Kennedy's hair are still visible, and the lines in the eagle's feathers on the reverse remain fairly clear. The coin may show some dullness where the original mint luster has faded, but the overall design still looks strong and well preserved. Coins in extra fine condition are often considered very attractive circulated coins, because they still retain much of their original detail while showing only moderate wear. Even though millions of Kennedy half-dollars were produced in 1992, collectors still examine them carefully for rare varieties or mint errors. During the minting process, small mechanical issues can sometimes create unusual coins that later become collectible. One example collectors watch for is a doubled die error, where the letters or numbers appear doubled because of a slight misalignment during the die creation process. Another possibility is an off-center strike, where the coin was not perfectly aligned when struck by the minting press. There are also rare cases where coins are struck on the wrong metal blank, called a planchet error. These types of mistakes are extremely rare but can make a coin highly valuable in the collector market. Because of these possibilities, certain unusual 1992 Kennedy half-dollar error coins *** have sold for impressive prices. Some rare varieties and dramatic mint errors have reached values between $8,000 and $35,000 depending on the rarity of the error and the condition of the coin. That is why collectors always recommend examining older coins carefully. Even a modern coin that appears common might contain a rare feature that increases its value. The 1992 Kennedy half-dollar with the P mint mark *** is part of a long-running series that continues to this day. Although half-dollars are not used as frequently in everyday transactions anymore, they remain popular among collectors because of their historical connection to President Kennedy and their strong, detailed design. This particular coin, preserved in extra fine circulated condition, shows how a coin can still look sharp even after spending time in circulation. It represents another chapter in the long story of the Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that has been part of American currency for more than half a century.